Good morning.
Well, we certainly know it's not the fire alarm.
No,
it
it is the best alarm though ever. Good morning. It is Friday. It is August 13th, and we are at a Shared Universe podcast studio, our partner in podcasting. We have Chris on the boards with us today.
Hi, Chris.
Hello. My co-host today is Tom Duffy.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
And we have our guest, Jennifer from A Small Jar. Never even thought to say, what's your last name again?
I love it. Jennifer Collins.
Jennifer
So
Collins. I read it a million times, and then all of a sudden we got so excited talking about having the same name.
I know.
Like, I think we should call
It didn't
Tom
matter.
Jennifer, too, and just really let it go.
We're the three Jennifers.
Yeah, there you go. Chris, you want to be Jennifer, too? We'll have a really good time. Okay, so anyway, as you know, Jennifer and I tend to like our names, so we're excited about that. And,
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
yeah, and so I want to let you guys know we had a really exciting morning this morning getting into the studio because it was 5 flights of stairs because the elevator's broken. So Tom and I got here early. Luckily, we knew ahead of time. Jennifer walks in all breezy. I don't know if she hid outside, like catching her breath, but Tom and I walk in here going, ooh! It's quite energetic start to our day.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, on day 3 of a heat wave.
I did hide in the bathroom for a minute.
Did
I'll be
you?
honest.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm like, damn, she looks really good. It's not fair. It's
And I
not fair.
entertained thoughts of riding my bike over here today.
Oh, Tom.
And then I saw your text this morning, so I'm glad I didn't decide to do that.
Yeah, I am so thankful Ming gave us that heads up because normally I carry a huge briefcase up here with all my stuff because if I'm doing anything or whatever, and I just don't ever want to be without something I might need, you know? And it's on wheels and it's heavy as all get out. I saw that and I'm like, oop, unpack that, just carry the laptop by itself and be all set. So anyway, we're here. So we're having a nice quiet month in August, this month with the Chamber.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, we had a super successful, really fun Christmas in July party at the Elks Club on the Navasink.
Right.
Yeah, it was our annual beach bash, annual beach bash on the Navasink Christmas in July. Because why would I name it anything easy?
Yeah, just package it all together, just clump it all up.
It was very clear what it was then, wasn't it?
And is it like kind of like all of your favorite things? It's like Christmas, beach,
Well,
July,
yeah. So,
like...
so honestly, Christmas in 2020 was kind of ugh,
Yeah.
you know. And we were supposed to have a big beach bash, like on the beach, Christmas in July in 2020. We couldn't do that, so we're like, okay, we don't really want to. We have 3 signature events a year. We have Spinnaker, beach bash, and golf. And because of the pandemic, Spinnaker is normally in January. It was in June. Beach bash is normally in July, and then golf is September, October. So it was we didn't do as big of a beach bash as we do, but it was fun. We had a Christmas tree. We did a giving tree, so you bought Christmas balls, hung them on the tree to decorate it. We donated $185 to Lunch Break from our giving tree.
We had some of the lunch break folks came over.
Lunch Break folks were there. They did some really awesome social media posting too. It was awesome. We had Santa Claus. Santa Claus, he was in his summer gear. Have to say, he had his hat, his beard, his sunglasses, his Hawaiian shirt, and his swim trunks. You know, so like he was chilling with us. It was really, I mean, we're pretty.
But I don't know if he knew that the Grinch was following him.
No,
around.
the Grinch did make a surprise appearance, and nobody knew the Grinch was coming, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
But he didn't stay long because we're not a Grinchy kind of group.
True.
We're not a Grinchy kind of group. He didn't stay very long, but it was really nice. We had a great time. Food was awesome. I don't know if you guys have ever eaten at Junior's in Red Bank.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Amazing food. Like their salmon burgers. Holy cow. Fresh salmon burgers. Food was really good. Then we had Ralph's Ice Cart come. It was fun.
Nice.
I have to say, it was a fun party. So we had a lot of new members there that we hadn't met before and that kind of stuff. So it was really good. Yep. So we took August off because Spinnaker in June, Beach Bash in July, and then we have golf is October 4th. But we have, a busy September coming up. We're back to our normal business networking breakfast schedule. In September this year, it's going to be on the 15th because Labor Day was a week later, so we just figured we'd give everybody that week off. So we're September 15th, and we have a speaker from Tony Robbins coming. Nice. So that's very exciting. It's going to be a very interesting event, as has everything lately.
Everything we do is interesting.
It is. But I mean from a technological standpoint.
Why is that?
Let me tell you, Tom. So, Tony Robbins.
Hey, we're good at this.
Tony Robbins' group is only doing virtual now. They're not coming in person. So they've got this huge thing all set up. So they are going to be on screen, interacting with our audience but they are not going to physically be in the room. And we are going to physically be in the room, but we may have some guests who are not comfortable being in the room, so they can join us via Zoom as well. So it's going to be a complete hybrid event. So you just have to let us know if you want to join us virtually or if you're going to join us in person. But we'll be doing our networking in person like we always do, and then we'll be doing the interactive Tony Robbins. It'll be at the Sheraton, so there's also going to be food. Yum.
Wow. So hybrid in every sense of the word.
Hybrid in every sense of the word. You know, I wish there was like a costume that showed what a hybrid is. Like, you know, like a hybrid is so many different things. Maybe it's like, maybe the Minotaur was the original hybrid, like a horse and, right? What, isn't that a Minotaur?
A horse and a man.
Yeah, a centaur. That's it. Yeah. Maybe that was the original hybrid and we should all come dressed as centaurs.
No,
Too
it's not-
much?
Yeah, too much.
Okay.
Yeah. October maybe, but not.
No, I don't know about that. So, and Tom, I think you want to tell us about our business. Oh, we're going to start Conversation and Coffee again in September.
Are we?
Yeah, so the 16th. Good morning, Kevin McCormick.
Best of both worlds is what
Best exactly, Kevin. Best of both worlds. So
That's so he can participate in his pajamas.
is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin, pajamas. We're looking for them.
Oh no,
because-
wrong Kevin. Sorry.
Wrong, well, I don't know. Kevin McCormick is the one that wore the Santa Claus apron at our
True,
previous
true.
Christmas in July party that we did at the winery. So, you know, I don't know. He might wear jammies.
But we have 7 Kevins, so
At
least.
we have 4 on the board.
So you never know.
So
Who's-
really, to get on the board, anybody wants to know how to get on the board of the Chamber of Commerce, name yourself Kevin. Or Jennifer. It works. Or Jennifer's will work too.
Put
No.
my application in.
it doesn't pay much. So. Let's not get carried away.
It's a volunteer position, but it's fun. So anyway, we're bringing Conversation and Coffee back, so that'll be on Thursday the 16th. Conversation and Coffee we came up with during the pandemic. It is a totally virtual networking. So you really get to know people when all you see is their facial expressions on the screen. But what we do is we just bring up a subject that is on everyone's mind business-wise. Usually, you know, like, okay, none of us can find anybody to hire. What are you doing? How are you finding somebody? And it's an hour of just sharing and solving together and discussing and, you know, just connecting and getting to know each other. And it's really cool. It's really, if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend trying it because it is networking in an experience you probably have not had. So we really enjoy it. So we'll be doing that on the 16th. That's 8:30 to 9:30, and that's all virtual, obviously, on Zoom. And then, Tom, tell us about what we're doing for the business after hours in September.
I forget. What are we doing?
Oh, no. Tom, you're sponsoring. You're buying the first drinks, remember?
Yeah. We're doing mini golf.
We're doing mini golf at the Bluegrass mini golf, Bluegrass, something like that. It's named the one over near Monmouth Park.
Right.
Blue Grotto.
Well, that's
But
the
Blue-
restaurant.
that's the
where the
restaurant.
drinks are.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Right. So that's where I'll be.
That's where I'm.
Well, no,
In the
play golf
shade.
first. We're gonna play
Maybe.
mini golf
We'll
from
see.
4. We're gonna start at 4 scrambles, so we're gonna all start on different holes.
Right.
And it should take us about an hour to play.
If that.
And then we'll head over to Blue Grotto, and we'll have drinks and socializing from 5 to 7.
Right.
Tom's buying the first drink for everybody.
That's right.
And
That's what I do best.
Yeah, it's his
Apparently.
favorite thing to do.
One of my favorite things.
One of his favorite things to do.
Certainly.
So
And if you want to stay and have dinner, you can do that too.
you can do that. That's all on you. If you want to, I mean, there's obviously awesome food, awesome people. Like, you know, I encourage anyone who hasn't met us yet to come meet us. We are fun.
You are
Jenna,
fun.
right?
I
Like,
mean,
you just
I've
spent with
only
us
been here
10
for
minutes.
and I'm like,
I got to
sign
join
me
this.
up. I mean, I'm like,
Well, so the Blue Grotto, so that we'll be outside.
Right.
So you'll be underneath in the shade near the bar, and then they have the tables and chairs all and couches they set up. On
I
the
think
grass.
I've seen some couches and stuff
so
out
if
there.
you want to hang out, and I've seen people sitting out there smoking cigars and just sitting around.
If you smoke cigars, please do not smoke near me.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to ask, politely.
Okay.
There you go.
Wow. Boy, did we let the air out of that balloon?
Wow, you shouldn't have sprung that one on me, Tom. I didn't have time to process.
Well,
you know I need processing with these things. You know you throw off one of my events and I need processing.
Okay. All right. So,
Kevin McCormick, he's really on it this morning. We truly are fun. We truly are fun. We are.
Okay. So anyway, so we're gonna have a great time.
We are. We're having a
Playing
real
a
good
little
time.
bit of mini golf. There may be some money wagered, that kind of stuff. And
Jeez. All right,
Wow,
I'm just
this
gonna.
is, like,
Tom
serious then.
didn't remember what he was doing, but now he's planning the whole thing completely rogue.
yeah,
You know,
just
like
completely.
I hope
Competitive
I hope
mini golf.
Elaine is listening to what you're doing to her entire committee and event here. Just saying. I hope she's listening this morning.
Hope she's taking notes.
Oh, is that what it is?
I hope.
Yeah, she loves to take notes, so
Good.
she'll be writing it all down. I'm sure.
She's
Yeah.
probably in the car trying to.
while she's feeding the dogs.
Yes.
Yeah, she has 2 little white puppies and white poodles, 2 teeny, like 4 pounds, not even.
Yeah.
And baby food and stuff. It's really fun.
All right, moving
It's
on.
an experience.
What else do we got?
I'm sorry, but I'm sharing it. It's fun. What else we got? Well, that's it. I'm gonna say I don't want to spill any October stuff yet.
Okay.
Kind of want to wait, but October, just keep
You
everything.
have the
in-
9 and Dine is early in October.
It's October 4th, yes.
Yeah,
And we
so-
are taking Actually, everything is open for sponsorships.
true.
What's the... Now, Tom, let me
Basically-
ask you this.
basically
Wait,
we're
wait,
for
wait,
sale,
Let
is
me
what
ask
you're
you my
saying.
question. We're not for sale. We're for participatory marketing.
Okay, yeah,
That is a
that's
good word.
Partnership
Great.
marketing.
Partnership marketing. Okay.
Partnership marketing. So, Tom, you have been a part of the chamber for a really long time.
Right.
You've sponsored many types of events.
Yes.
Many times. Please tell our audience about have I happened to mention this is my favorite part of my job? I love doing podcasts.
She's sitting around the office. Is it Friday yet?
Why would you sponsor? Why do you sponsor an event? Why would you sponsor an event? Why should someone sponsor an event? Talk to us about it.
So I've always said, you're not really in business unless you're part of the business community. And so one of the easiest ways to be part of the business community is to obviously get out there and meet people and have people meet you. Sponsorship is one of the easiest ways to make sure that your name and your message is on our marketing collateral that goes out to folks, that goes out on the email, it goes out on the website, goes on the usually the
We
day
talk
of.
about it on the
We certainly talk
podcast.
about it here. But all those things, all those different ways to try to help make sure that we're communicating who you are, what you do, hopefully what the value that you bring to your customers in a fun way. And that's why you would want to sponsor.
Right.
That's
Right.
really that's it.
That's it.
really it.
It's letting with our marketing that we're doing. Let us help market you. And
We've tried to position ourselves as kind of the marketing department because so many of and I want to say small business. I don't mean that in a derogatory manner, but a lot of us, me included, I'm a sole practitioner. I don't have a marketing department. And so I can outsource a lot of that. So if I want to do e-blast, if I need to do internet marketing, I can do that through the chamber at an attractive price point. And so that's kind of where we've tried to position ourselves.
Well said. We should have been recording that. Oh wait, Chris, did we record that? Because I think we might use that, Tom. That was very well said.
Maybe you can hire me to say it for real.
Wait, don't you pay us to say it for real?
Yeah.
So the
Oh,
reason.
that's what that statement that showed up the other day
Yeah.
was.
So you know what I love though? You should say because if Jill's listening, she's gonna die laughing because she thinks your tagline is the best tagline of any business she has heard.
Sure.
What is it?
So I'm a financial advisor.
Yeah.
I typically work with, and I say this affectionately and lovingly, I work with little old ladies. And so my job is to protect their family's wealth from predators, creditors, and senators.
Ah,
Right.
nice.
So that's and
I
it
like it.
typically gets a chuckle, but apparently Jill's rolling on
Jill
the floor laughing.
loves it. She's like, oh my gosh, every time. She
Mm-hmm.
just says it's the best. So yeah, she's like, oh, I love it when he says that. It's so funny. Which is true. I laugh too every time I see it written down. So anyway, so people know that because Tom sponsors and all that kind of good stuff. So, so anyway, that's kind of what's going on. But just sneak peek is October. We're calling our membership month, and we're going to have lots of awesome specials for everyone involved. So stay tuned. That's the teaser about October.
Right. So, but I do want to just throw in the 9 and Dine.
Oh yeah,
'cause
please.
it's,
So, yes, because it's early, and we did start with that with
Yeah, we did
sponsorships.
start
do
marketing that.
we have our a presenting sponsor. We have which ISP Sports Center Event Center is our presenting sponsor, and we have LG.
Insurance.
LGAR. I think.
Well.
Rich Labar, that's I know his name. He is a tea sponsor so far. So we only have two. We have lots of sponsorships, cart sponsors.
Well, it's early.
It's early, but hey.
It's early in the month.
It's
and I just
October
always-
4th.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I won't be able to be there.
Oh no.
Well, I'm teaching on Mondays, so
Oh, that's
there's
right.
no way.
So we don't have a choice when the golf course is available is when we get it.
Right.
But so why don't you
in the
talk
ti-
about it?
Well,
Because
the ti-
Jennifer, I'm sure, doesn't know what it is.
Funny you should ask.
Love it.
So the 9 and Dine, it's 9 holes, and they use wacky putters. You bring 2 clubs.
3 clubs.
Three
Get 3 clubs.
You got 3 clubs.
3 clubs. You can't share your clubs with anybody else you're playing with.
But
Okay.
so you bring your
Is
3.
that always true, or is that a COVID situation?
No, that is always true for this event.
For this event, right? Because we're trying to make it fun for
Okay.
people that don't golf.
Okay.
So we don't want any ringers out there. We don't want anybody out there that's playing for the lowest possible score.
Yeah.
So you're only allowed your 3 clubs, and we provide the putter. And so it might be a lacrosse stick.
Okay.
I've putted with a mop. We had a crutch one time.
Did you use the gallon? We putted with a gallon full of water last year.
Yeah, a gallon full of water.
Luckily, it wasn't hot, so nobody drank it.
Yeah,
so it stayed full.
somebody went to all the trouble to take the shaft of a golf club, and they poked it into a can, a Miller Lite beer can, and then filled the can with concrete and let it dry. And so you were trying to putt with a stick of concrete.
Oh my God.
It's hysterical.
It's fun. It is
so
fun.
that's the point, is to try to make it fun.
Nice.
And it's
9
9
holes, yeah.
Yeah, it's the afternoon. Then we have a little dinner and maybe a couple cocktails, and it's always a lot of fun. So
Yes.
I'm sorry I'm gonna have to miss it, but
Me too.
I will be teaching.
As we said, Jill chimed in. Good morning, hilarious, Tom.
You can get up off the floor now. That's where they come up with that rolling on the floor laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Jill?
That's Jill.
She's going to love that, yeah. So, welcome, Jennifer Collins from A Small Jar.
Thank you.
You're a very new member with the Chamber.
I am a new member.
What made you decide to join a Chamber of Commerce? And ours specifically, without even knowing how amazing we are.
Well, how could I mean, in retrospect, how could I have made any other choice?
Thank you.
I mean, this is
Ooh, she's good.
Money.
She's really good.
money well spent.
Thank
I mean,
you.
if
Just
anyone-
for the pleasure of our company today.
100%. This is amazing. Well, I launched my company within the past year. I've been coaching for about a year, and I love what you said about you're not in business unless you're part of the business community, and that's really kind of why I wanted to be a part of it. And the Eastern Monmouth Area Chamber of Commerce seems to be an organization that really wants to focus on the professional development of their members and the engagement of their members, and so it felt like a great community to be a part of.
Good. We're very happy to have you. How did you come up with A Small Jar? Because you say you're coaching. When I saw A Small Jar, I thought you sold jellies.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I really did. I'm like, oh, how cute. She makes homemade jams.
I love it.
I'm sorry, but I did.
Totally. Okay, so there's the official reason why it's a
Yes.
small jar. I'm going to tell you the real reason.
Okay.
Because it kind of seems like
We're-
that's this
yeah,
kind
very
of
good.
organ,
Tell
you know?
anybody.
All right, so I've been on kind of on a journey for kind of like, you know, like everyone wants to be a little happier, right? Like it's kind of like the purpose of our lives, wanting to be happy. And so my sister, mother, and I are very close, and we've been going to this place called Kripalu, which is like one of these yoga retreat places, right? So we've tried to go every year. We haven't gone since COVID, but we went to a session where this woman was saying, so if you want to build kind of happiness in your life, you should really make sure that you're engaging with friends. So you should put all of their names in a jar, and then every day pull out a name and connect with that person. So I was like, you know what, this is such a great idea. This, you know, I totally should do this, because I don't, you know, you forget to reach out to people. It's just, it slips
Life,
your mind.
every day you go through, and then the next thing you know, it's been 2 weeks, and you've been thinking of your friend who lives so far
Totally.
away. And
you wish you could just like email them from your brain,
Yes,
you know, like because you
yes.
never get around to, or while you're driving.
That's coming.
Right.
That's coming. Don't.
Probably.
Siri, just do what's in my brain, please. No, I'm sorry.
Well, that's a scary.
In my brain, especially.
Look around.
So I you always have these best intentions. You're like, I'm really going to do this thing, right? I'm going to put all, and I actually printed out the names, and I bunched them up, and I put them in. When, you know, like 6 months later, not a name came out of the jar. And so I made a joke to my mother and sister, and I said, you know, I actually really need a small jar for the number of people I reach out to on a regular basis. And I said, you want to know what? And so from then on, the three of us became the small jar. And so whenever we connect, and my mother and sister are both actually PhDs. They have PhDs in counseling. So when we get together, it is just like, it's a space of like complete like trust, and we have such a good time together. And so as I was thinking about kind of following in their footsteps, I don't have a PhD in counseling, but I'm a certified life coach. I thought, what a better space to create than the small jar.
I love it. That is a great but
that's fantastic imaging.
Yeah,
It
it
really-
is,
that
and
really-
that's what makes stories and company. I think sharing those stories are like so cool and important.
Yeah.
So Tom's been a coach, and you're a coach, but different kinds of coaches. So, Tom, you've been didn't you coach Julie, or did you just really?
So my daughter played basketball
Okay.
for most of her younger life. So yeah, I coached the team one season.
Okay.
Which was more along the lines of getting to the games on time because they have been very well coached before that.
Okay.
And so they knew what to do. So it was just my job to call timeout and yell at the referees. So
Oh, all right. So I'm assuming your coaching might be a tad different.
yeah.
So
I
tell
hope
us,
so.
tell us a little bit more. Like, how do you coach? Most people know coaching. I mean, it is not as unusual.
We're not
run
talking about
into-
sports coaching here.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's not as usual now to hear of a life coach or a business coach or any kind of thing like that. But
Yeah.
tell us about life coaching, your approach, what got you into it, and
For sure. So, I think when most people think about life coaching or any type of coaching where you go to a trainer or kind of serve as your coach, you're thinking about accountability, like someone who's going to make you do the thing, teach you how to do the thing. And so often you think of them as like, okay, I'm going to go to my trainer. They're going to make me do a bunch of sit-ups and pull-ups.
And I wouldn't ordinarily do.
And I wouldn't ordinarily do it. And eventually I'm going to stop going because
I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to tell anybody I'm not doing it. Hello.
Have you ever done that thing where you sign up for it and you just you don't want to go, but you've paid for it, and it's the worst feeling. It's just that's not the
And
kind
you
of
know
coaching
it's
I
good
do.
for you, but gosh darn it, you don't want to go work that hard. I didn't want to walk up 5 flights of stairs this morning. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. Okay, so the basic way to think about it is that most coaches teach the how. Like, how do you do something? Like, here are the steps. You see it all over Facebook and Instagram. Do these 5 things, right? What I do is empower someone to be the who.
Empower someone to be the who, the person who does the things.
Yeah.
Wow. That wasn't. Let's sit on that a minute. That's powerful. Empower someone to be the. Okay. So
So you have to try to help them figure out who that is.
Yeah.
good. That's why I was trying
So where do we start?
So that's a great question. So think about.
to. Just really serious.
Yeah. Okay, so think about when you were really young, right? And you tried to do something, you didn't really have any expectation that you could do it, right? I mean, think
Right.
about like a kid who's learning to walk. And they're just like, they might get frustrated, but they're going to keep doing it. And eventually they're going to fail enough times that they build up the strength to do the thing, right? But as we get older, it's like we lose that concept that we have the ability to do things if we just keep trying. So the concept is in any area of your life, whether it's your relationships, your business, any of the personal goals that you have, fitness, weight loss, we develop these stories about ourselves that we can't do it, that we're not motivated enough, I'm just not that type of person, I don't have enough time, I've got kids. Whatever it is, these stories are keeping us from achieving these things. And so a life coach kind of helps you gain a perspective on the stories you're telling yourself and whether or not you want to invest energy in them.
I like that. I like that. And, it's true when you say, like, who are you? I was a stay-at-home mom who did a bunch of charity party planning.
Yeah.
And when it came down to they needed help in the chamber office, my husband said, I need your help planning an event that's going off in 4 weeks. We mentioned it was Spinnaker,
Yeah.
the biggest event that the chamber has every year. And he's like, and I
I'm just
need
gonna
your
drop
help.
you
In 4 weeks, we need to pull this off, and we need 100+ people sitting in the room. I'm like, oh, okay, I do that. Sure. And now finding myself 3.5 years later, growing the chamber is a company, growing the company by over 130%, and taking it to different levels than it's been in a while. And I still, if somebody were to ask me if I could do that, my answer is probably no, I can't do that. Yet I'm doing it,
Yeah.
and it is.
It's because we didn't give you time to think about it.
Yeah. Well, it was
We
kind of
pulled
like
you out of your head and
Yeah.
put you in the chair.
Yes, but we did just discuss the other day, nobody knew I knew what I was doing. Everybody's like, wow, okay. So, and it's true. The, figuring that stuff out is it's kind of awesome when you realize, like, I'm 54 years old. I got my where I was supposed to be in my life at 51,
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
mind you, for any woman listening, turning 50 is the best freaking thing in the whole world. I'm just saying.
Tell me why. I'm right there.
Are you?
So what is
Oh my
it?
God, turning 50 is so freeing. You have spent the whole first half of your life trying to find out who you are,
Yeah.
trying to adjust to culture, trying to adjust to what people need from you and everything. At 50, you are just who you are.
You're like, I'm done.
At this
trying
point,
to
I'm
figure it
done.
out.
I am who I am. It's developed. The person's in here.
Yeah.
You like her, you don't. That's your choice.
Yeah, good
you
for
know?
you. That's amazing.
And I've talked to many women, and that they all seem to hit that.
That's so good.
You know, because at 40, your body's falling apart. So yeah, at 50, you're just used to that by then, and you can just enjoy it all. Say, who cares? So anyway, just,
I love it.
I don't know if men feel the same way about turning 50, but you know, so as a life
Yeah.
coach, when you are having your clients who are approaching that 50, you can remember that
Yeah.
wisdom that I just shared with you,
Great.
and share
So maybe
that.
I should just have a bunch of 49-year-olds as clients, and then by 50, we're all going to be really successful.
Well, you know, I mean, at least happier.
Or
maybe. I mean, I
or you
hope.
just don't give a you know what about.
Well,
it.
I think that I didn't really want to say that, but that's kind of what you just don't give a anymore. You know, you just
So,
it's just it
yeah.
is what it is. You
Yeah.
Well,
just,
that giving a you know what isn't as important as it once was.
Yeah.
Let's put it that
exactly. You give a hoot about who you are and what you're doing and what's good for you.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily. I personally, I shouldn't speak for every 50-year-old woman. I don't know, but I personally and friends that I've spoken to are the same way. It's like, okay, let's just be us now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, and there's a lot of happy 50-year-old women.
Well, and you know, I think it's so interesting that you say that, because I think that is a choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've intentionally decided, like, this is who I am. I'm not going to make apologies. Like, I'm going to live into this version of myself. I think so many people don't do that. Like, so many people live at the effect of their lives. They're like, you know, this is my husband or this is my job. And it's just, it feels like their life is happening to them and they're completely powerless. And, you know, that's why people feel stuck.
And you can choose.
Yeah.
You can choose to accept it as powerless, embrace it as it is, or make a change. Those are your three choices.
Yeah.
And that's with everything. That's with business. That's with life. That's with, you know, with everything, I
Yeah.
think. And it's just how you choose to wake up in the morning.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's your favorite thing about coaching? Like I
mean,
mean, it can't be easy to pick one a favorite thing.
You know, I mean, for me, like, I can't tell you. So I was one of those people who, you know, outside looking in, you kind of, like, if you looked at kind of the things I've accomplished in my life, you'd kind of think, oh, that's a person who's successful, right? And I checked all the boxes. I have a beautiful family and a husband and all the things, right? So about 5 years ago, I found myself just, like, miserable. Like, here I had achieved everything I wanted to achieve. And you know how, like, sometimes you get in a phase of life where you're like, if I can only achieve these things, then I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the things and you're like, yeah, no. Getting here isn't exactly
that
how
wasn't my list.
Yeah. I mean, like, I thought I was setting myself up for, like, all this happiness. And the worst part was, you know, when you take a step back, you know how people say, like, be grateful.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like, I was grateful. You know, I'm like, yeah, no, I love my kids. I love my husband. But, like, I was still really unhappy. And a lot of that came from just feeling, like, at the effect of my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So discovering this process of self-coaching, which is something I teach in my program, has just completely shifted. I mean, maybe it's like subliminally, it's kind of what happened to you when you were 50, is that I've taken the power back in my life. And I feel like now I'm in a place where I can accomplish anything. And I don't think I've had that power, I think, since I've even been in my, like, since early in my 20s, when you're kind of, like, too dumb to know any different. You're like, okay, I'm going to try a bunch of things.
Right,
You know?
right. Isn't that what college is about, electives and
Yeah,
stuff? You just
totally.
try it all till you figure out what
You're
you
like,
want to do.
of course I don't know what I'm doing. I'm 20. Whereas, like, you know, you're in your late 30s and 40s. You start to think, like, I should be further along right now.
You're using the S word,
Yeah.
right? And so this is one of
So dangerous.
just-
Shooting yourself.
Absolutely, I say that all the time.
There's shooting, there's...
Well, we use it in my business. So you know, when somebody becomes a widow, everybody comes out of the woodwork. Oh, you should do this. You should do that. You should sell the house. You should sell those
Yeah.
stocks. You should, you know, whatever it is. And we like to say, don't let people shoot on you.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a big problem. So with Jennifer, what you were saying is you were living by somebody else's list. And when you turned 50, you said, F that. I'm living off of my list.
Well, you know what it was? It was my list.
Yeah.
It was the list you thought you were supposed to be using.
It was the list. I always wanted to be married. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom,
Yeah.
have my kids. That's what I always thought I wanted. And I did, and I love it. I have my older daughter is 25, my younger daughter is 18. She's getting ready to go off to college. The other one lives with her boyfriend. Like, my kids, I have raised my successful girls. My husband and I still really like each other.
So good.
So, you know, those goals are great, but there was something missing for me.
Yeah.
Being just mom, being just wife, being volunteer, appreciated, but not feeling worth of myself.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was kind of like, so yeah, I accomplished my goals, but then your kids are grown, then what?
Yeah.
Like, what are your new goals?
And I find that with my clients so often, that it's such a common problem that you're living at the effect of your family, you're living your life for your family, and then you struggle with your teenagers, then they leave. Now what do I do? I mean, there's such an identity crisis I think happens for women in their 40s and early 50s.
Yeah, I mean, and men too. I mean, like, I know my husband is like, he loves his girls to the nth degree. He lives for his girls. And, his baby's going away to school. His oldest baby doesn't live with us anymore. And he said this, he's having the same thing.
Yeah.
He's achieved something really great in the last 6 months at work. A step he's taken at work, and he's feeling really good about that. But it's the same thing. He's kind of like, what do I, where's our new life going to be?
Yeah.
So I think everybody hits, and they used to call it a midlife crisis. Thank God he didn't go buy a Porsche and find a young woman. But, he's still sticking it out with me. Jennifer, you are not just anything. You are everything. Oh, Elaine, I love you.
She was paying attention.
She was.
So good.
Sorry. It's not necessarily a midlife crisis, but you do find yourself questioning, okay, now what? You don't think beyond that 50 years old when you're 20.
Yeah.
Because that's old. When you're 20, 50 is really freaking old.
Some of us didn't think we'd be here at this point,
Yeah,
given what we were doing then.
Well, and,
Speak for yourself. I was a good girl.
And you're really lucky to have a strong relationship with your husband, but I know
There
many
are so
people
many who
who are, they've stayed together for the kids, and then
Exactly.
it's a messy divorce, or women who want to get back into the workplace and feel like I've been running my kids around for so long. How do I even it's difficult to make the transition.
I have can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
I have a really good way for any particular woman who's feeling like, I want to get back in the workforce.
Yeah.
We're currently looking for an assistant.
Ah.
Jill is still with us, taking on a few new roles. So we're looking for somebody who wants to get back into the workplace. Doesn't necessarily have to support a family on what, as a nonprofit, we're able to pay them, but wants to be with us on a regular basis. Because
I can vouch for this. I'd sign up.
Okay.
I've got a couple things going on, but I'll let you know.
Okay. So we're looking for someone to come in the office, help us out, be involved in the chamber. The opportunity to meet people as your skills grow is huge. It's a business association. You're getting your name out there. So I'm sorry, just a little plug right there. Is that works? If you're looking to get back into the workforce, and male also, we're not limited it to just females and males. It could be either. It could be anything.
Anything anyone doesn't.
We don't discriminate. If you're a four-legged furry animal and can type and converse in English, then we're good. So whatever you want.
Nice.
Sorry.
Because Elaine was bringing the dogs over again.
I'm telling you. But they do sit at the desk. It's just that they sit here at the desk when she brings them, so I don't. They're so cute. Anyway.
I love it.
Yeah. So sorry, I totally digressed. But yeah, so there are opportunities out there for people who are looking to start over.
Well, and I think it goes back to what you were saying, is that people they've told themselves that they're either not qualified, I shouldn't do this, I'm not able to do that, and that is something that I think a lot of folks probably need a lot of help overcoming.
Mm-hmm. Because
Rewriting that story in their
It
head.
really is, because I think the more you practice those thoughts, you're like, I'm not good enough. I don't have the skill set. No one's going to hire me. They become deeply rooted belief systems that it's almost like you don't notice that it's your identity. You think it's
Right.
true, as
Right.
opposed to separating out facts from the story.
Right. And challenging yourself to say, what can I really do? What do I want to
Yeah.
do? I think there was two things you said. One is that line was in Pretty Woman. It's easier to believe bad stuff
Yeah.
than to, it's really.
Really?
It's easier to believe the bad stuff than, when somebody's.
I can shut off
feeding
my
you
Twitter account now. Thanks very much. I don't need that anymore.
And then the other thing is that now I forgot. You threw me off with the Twitter, Tom.
Sorry.
I'll get back to it eventually, but go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, it is easier to believe the bad stuff. You just I think our brains are programmed to automatically project into the future the things that are going to hurt us. So it's like, you're like afraid of something. I'm not going to be successful. So you just kind of never take the step because you don't want to fail. You don't want to feel the shame of it. And
sometimes you can't wait till you're 50 to not care anymore.
yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes you shouldn't.
So yeah, sometimes you shouldn't wait. Yeah.
Well, and think about it now. Like, I mean, you're 50. You only lived half your life. You've still got a long way to go.
Still got a long way to go, and
thinking
you
of
need
it
to be
as-
happy for that. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, and the whole thing. I know that we're telling, and I hear a lot of people telling the younger generations now. You want to go to school and study this, but think really. Do you enjoy this, or are you doing it just to make money because that's what you've heard?
Yeah.
And I have heard parents saying, "Do this if it makes you happy." Oh, you know.
I have that conversation so I teach college kids. I teach them how money works, and that's one of the conversations we have early on in the semester. Is you have to do something that you could do. You can look at it three ways. You can look at things that you are passionate about. There are things that the world needs, and there are things that you can get paid for. If you can get those three areas to overlap, you're in your sweet spot. I'm kind of there. What I do, I love doing. The world certainly needs it, and I can get paid to do it. So I'm in that sweet spot.
Yeah.
But there are some people. So I've had students that want to be, certain career choices where certainly. So this is not a knock. I've had students that want to be social workers. Fantastic. World needs it. You're passionate about it, but it doesn't pay very well, right? So I've got kids that want to be teachers. Same thing. Passionate about it. The world certainly needs it. Certainly in the beginning, doesn't pay very well. And so I try to explain to them and get them to evaluate those kinds of things to make sure what the decisions they're making will foot with where they want to be. So that maybe they don't have to wait until they're 50. Maybe they'll figure it out as soon as their student loans are paid off. Which, well, now that could be in their 70s. So crap.
I know.
I got to rethink that whole
And
idea.
but to that point, someone who's evaluating that say, yes, it may not get me the Lamborghini, it may not get me the big house on the water, but it gets me a happy life. It gets me for teaching. It gets me summers off to enjoy my family, and I love doing it. I'm passionate about it, and the world needs it. So.
Well, so let me.
So where does that, you talk to them about where does that value of money and income
Right, so-
and making a living stand in
Because
there?
then we have to compare that to or contrast that really with what is the lifestyle that you want to live.
Exactly.
Right. So if your lifestyle,
Right.
so that's one of the projects, and you may have heard me tell the story that I have them do a term project where they've got to figure out what's it going to cost you to live the lifestyle that you want as of right now. And so if that's an apartment, that's a car payment, that's student loan payments, that's food, beer, drugs, whatever it is you're going to do in your 20s, you have to be able to afford all of that.
Right.
So we figure out what does it cost you to be you.
Yeah.
And then we compare that to, well, you're going to start out making $35,000, and roughly 30% of that is going to go to taxes and fees and health insurance and all that kind of stuff. Can you live on the 70% that's left over?
Yeah.
And that's eye-opening to so many college students. They're like, oh, wait a minute. You mean if I start at 40, I don't keep 40? No, you don't.
Yeah.
You know.
My son just he's 16. He's just had his first job,
First
and he's
paycheck.
like looking his.
Who the
paycheck
hell
like,
is FICA?
what is Social Security seems very far off.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, my 18-year-old just went through that this summer too. She's like, man, this summer was the summer of, okay, if I take these more hours, I'm gonna make this much more money, and then I can get through the semester at school because Dad's not sending me extra money.
So one semester we were having the income tax lesson, and we identified that it's about 30%, all that stuff. And young man in the front, who the hell makes up these rules? And I stopped and I looked at him. I said, did you vote last November? He goes, no, of course not. And I said, well, then it's your fault, right? Because
Yeah.
the people that we elect, they're the ones that make those rules. And I wasn't old enough. I couldn't. I said, okay, we got an election coming up in another month. Are you going to vote this? Well, I don't know. I said, well, if you want more of this same old crap, then certainly don't vote. All you sit at home on your hands. You'll get more of this. I can guarantee you that. So that
I
was
want to go to school with Professor Duffy.
No.
Yeah, well, we drop the F-bomb every now and then because you got to wake them
Gotta
up.
make
a
it
little
I never do that.
So people say, oh, it's an early class. It's 11 a.m. It's the class I teach now is at night. So,
Yeah.
So the F-bomb is more for fun.
You can spice it up at night.
Yeah. Well, it wakes them up at 11 a.m. The F-bomb.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
especially coming from the teacher,
Yeah.
So
well,
there's something funny as you said. It's interesting to think about, right? So what is happiness? Like, how do you even define it? Like, how do you look for it? And I would argue that in our society, it's like we expect a level of happiness that isn't realistic all of the time. And you look at social media and the number of people who are posting, and I worry about our younger kids, right? Because I think when you're older, you see through it. We're not as, we're not on all of the platforms that our kids are on, right? And they're looking at these lifestyles and these influencers who have all this money because they're just like paid to wear clothes on, Snapchat or TikTok or whatever.
Right.
And they're portraying a lifestyle that isn't necessarily realistic, and so people have this expectation that I should be happier. And even that thought is like poison, right? Because all of a sudden, if you think like everybody else is more happy than I am, you're setting yourself up for like a downward spiral. Whereas at some point, if you realize like, yeah, life is about a balance, like about happiness, and there's some pain there. And you actually wouldn't appreciate the pain and the beauty of life if you didn't have the other side of it. You know? And so
that's true.
sometimes
Right.
it's about expectations too.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. I had a young lady one semester that she made the assumption that the first job out of college, she would be the senior director of global whatever for a clothing line. So and she would start at like $88,000 a year. I said, what makes you think? And I was trying to be nice, which is very difficult for me in some situations.
Hard to believe.
I was going to say, I've never seen him not nice, so I can't imagine.
Ask
But
my daughter.
okay, well, that's a different thing.
So I asked her, I said, let me ask you a question. What makes you qualified to be the senior global director over all of the other people that work at that company, or all the other people that have years of experience in global fashion, directing fashion, all that kind of stuff? And she kind of looked at me and she goes, well, where would I start? I said, probably entry level. So not 88? I said, no, lucky if it's 38. And so she had to rework her whole spreadsheet, her whole expectation as to what her lifestyle was going to be like. And it was not a pretty sight for her,
But what a valuable lesson you taught.
I hope so.
I
hope so.
I mean, I can't imagine.
I had one young lady, again, she had put in that her student loan payments, and when I designed this project, my whole point was for them to figure out what their student loan payment was going to be. And this young lady put $300. Now they present this at the end of class. This is their final exam. They project it up on the screen.
I love the ones that don't do it.
Well, they have to do it, otherwise they fail.
I know, but you've had a few of those. You've
Well, I
mentioned.
have. So of course it's college after all. So one young lady, 300.00. That was her student loan payment. I said it's mathematically impossible, right, for you to have a perfectly even. They were supposed to. I taught them how to do the formula. Hold on. Where did you get that? Well, my mom told me. Okay, so your mom failed because it's wrong, and you failed because this is supposed to be your work. Let's fix your formula. So I got somebody else, a smart kid in the front, to help her fix her formula in her spreadsheet, and her student loan payment went from $300 to $789 and some odd cents. And I said, and then her cash flow now just went negative. I said, so did you see what happened? Now she's completely flabbergasted. She has no idea. I said, you signed a lease for an apartment you can no longer afford, which puts you in a position where you might have to do something you don't want to do to afford food. And so I got the little trembling and going in the lip.
Better to have this conversation now than.
That's
But
the whole
exactly,
point. That's the whole point.
then having literally physically signed that lease and not being able to have food.
Exactly. And that's the whole point. And so I think sometimes we just do it somewhat of a disservice, as you point out, that we've painted this picture that you're going to have this life that's like ours,
Yeah.
right, as parents. It took us 30 years to get where we
Right.
are, right?
Yeah.
We're a 30-year overnight success.
Yeah.
And so that, that's I think that's important for us all to remember and to try to impart that, especially on our kids, is that we didn't start out this way.
Yeah.
We really didn't.
Yeah.
So true. So
It was
true.
way different.
Yeah, very different.
So I'd imagine that, and that's something that you've got to help people identify, that you're comparing yourself to things that they're not comparable. They're not the same yardstick. You're comparing metric to English, and you got to compare it to yourself, I would think.
Yeah, and I think also thinking that you should be something. I mean,
Right.
back to the should.
Right, back to the should, yeah.
It's so unproductive because it just creates emotions that are like indulgent in some ways, like feeling like you're not good enough. Like there's no forward momentum that happens from that place, right? So, it's difficult. And I think the other interesting thing, and I think this happens with people our age too. I mean, there's a cost to the success and the chasing, and all of the anxiety and how overwhelmed people are. I mean, people end up not wanting to feel hard emotions and then ending up kind of doing things that are negative in their life to compensate for them. Like we eat too much, we drink too much, we're on social media scrolling, we're procrastinating just to feel a little bit better. And I think that goes back to the feeling like we should be happier, you know?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of, Tom teaches a very unique class. There's no one that really teaches, or you have to seek it out. I don't know, teaching conflict isn't bad
Yeah.
and how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, it can be very productive if there is conflict,
Yeah.
but people avoid that, and then put themselves further in a hole. How, do you have younger people? Like, do you have people in their 20s looking to be coached for starting out?
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
At all ages. I mean, I sometimes coach my boys against their will. It's not,
It's
I wouldn't
totally
recommend
different.
it.
Yeah,
Teenagers,
exactly.
they don't want to hear
I
it.
financial plan my daughter against her will. So yeah, sure, I got
But
it. I got it.
I actually, when I first heard of life coaching, I didn't know what it was. When I realized what it was, and what I teach is a process that people can apply to their own life, so you don't have to see a life coach for the rest of your life. But there's sometimes a stigma placed on people seeing therapists for mental health, which is so important.
Which
right?
is changing,
It's changing
Thank
for
goodness.
sure, absolutely.
because almost everybody's going.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Or should be.
Or should be, for sure, right.
But I almost think everybody needs a life coach, right? Like, what a gift to give yourself to have someone who, and it has to be the right fit. It has to be someone with whom you're comfortable, who has the right style, but someone where you can literally sit on a couch and kind of observe all the crap going on in your brain and what that is creating in your life, right? Because the way we show up in our life is how we drive the results in our life. So if the results that you have in your life aren't what you want, there's something going on in your mind that's keeping you from achieving those things. And so, and it's amazing for me, I feel like I've always been someone who's fairly self-motivated, but as I've gone through this process, I have been astounded at how deep and twisted some of my brain patterns have been, and I'm like, I did not even know that was in there. I'm just fascinated, right? Let's go to just a simple problem. One of the things that, I've always been pretty driven, but I've been one of those classic, and I think it's a classic stay-at-home mom problem, or women juggling things. You get home and you're like, I'm going to have a glass of wine. I'm going to have a glass of wine and unwind, and before you know it, it turns into a couple glasses of wine.
And you're unwound, but you don't feel any better?
Or you're at the event, you have to have a glass of wine. And you're out with your friends, you have to have a glass of wine. And there were so many circumstances in my life where I was like, I have to have a glass of wine. And it was in my brain, I couldn't imagine having fun or relaxing or any of these things without this. And people do it with food, we do it with social media.
I can't drive without a cup of coffee in my hand.
I mean,
I believe that.
Yeah.
And
You actually can't do anything without a cup of something in your hand.
That's pretty close.
When people do it also with validation, it's they're constantly seeking approval, and we're always looking for something outside of ourselves to
We're
make us
constantly
feel
commenting
something.
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yes,
oh my God, looking, are people going to like it? And I put my Facebook page up yesterday, and I'm like, how many followers? And I'm watching my brain go, oh my gosh, here I am. I'm looking
What can I
for
do
the
to boost it? I need
validation.
3 more.
Yeah.
I need a round number
Okay,
there.
so what's your Facebook page? Because we'll just make sure we announce it here while people are watching us on live on Facebook. What is it?
It is Small Jar Coach.
Small Jar Coach. Everybody follow Jennifer. She would
Thank
greatly
you.
approve it.
So
It
did
would
we just get
help
you
her
over
issues.
18?
Now I'm validated now. Oh my God.
You're validated.
If I could be 18,
By
that would
us.
be amazing. I love it. Mission
Just ask the
accomplished.
chamber, and you shall receive.
I love it. So funny. But yeah, it's that's this constant looking for something outside of yourself to feel better. And so for me, this coaching process has created a situation where I've got it all inside. And everybody has it all inside, they just don't know it. Going back to that, when you were a kid, you kept after it. You weren't looking for your mom to clap their hands and walk. You were just tunnel vision, I'm gonna walk. And we have it in us.
So do you find yourself constantly having to coach yourself?
Oh, 100%.
Because I could say you could learn this, but then it's almost like you got to constantly challenge yourself to continue to stay in that happy space.
Totally. And frankly, not happy. Sometimes
It's okay to be not happy.
100%.
I have the best eyes the day after I have a really big crying jag.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but if you are really upset and allow yourself to break down and cry,
Yeah.
the sparkle in your eyes the next day is amazing.
I mean, what you
experience.
said, like allowing yourself to feel sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and like you're not always going to feel good about, like, if you lash out at people. I mean, some emotions have negative consequences, but like understanding why you're feeling that way, and sometimes like you need to feel mad. You certainly need to feel grief if you lose someone. I mean, you can't hide from the emotions of your life, and I think sometimes I think we were raised to like dial down the emotion. That emotion was scary. And I think more and more parents are starting to tell kids, like, it's okay to feel, boys aren't told they shouldn't cry anymore, but it's still a process. I mean, think about this. We tell our kids all the time that person hurt their feelings. Like,
Yeah.
other people don't hurt your feelings. You interpret what people say in a way that hurts your feelings. And
Right.
that's like it takes all your power away when you think somebody else has done it for you.
Right. That's a really good. That's a really good.
So I catch myself all the time, when you want to be like, oh, did that hurt your feelings? It's like, no. Like, because think about it. If you're like driving and someone drives by you and they're screaming obscenities, you don't know who they are. You're like, wow, they are having a bad day.
That you know what? Honestly, that's my daughters and I do that. We're like, wow. Or
It's
I'll notice someone will start to get mad at something. I'll go, oh, must be having a really bad day.
Yeah.
But then it happens to me, and it's a lot harder to say when
Totally.
it, like when somebody reacts to something, and I'm like, okay, that what, and it's a
Yeah.
lot harder to say that about yourself.
Totally.
It's a lot harder, but
Or
to
someone
get
close
used
to you. Like, I mean,
Right.
if a stranger and someone close to you said something mean, like, all of a sudden the person close to you, you're like making it mean that like they're right, or like, they shouldn't have said it, or all these things.
And it's okay to be hurt if someone says something, but think about why and think about what you are. And, sometimes you'll say something that will hurt someone else, or they feel hurt by what came out.
Yeah.
Exactly, right. And it was never your intention.
Right.
It's okay to apologize for that,
Yeah.
because you might feel better saying, I never meant to do that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And
And the other piece is like letting them have their emotion. Like,
Yeah,
you get to be hurt. Like, because you're never going to be able to act in a way, like, you can't do anything to make other people happy or like you or any of the things. So it's just it's so interesting to be able to separate yourself and be like, you know what, you could not like me. You could be listening and be like,
you're
yeah,
crazy if you
you're
don't like me, but I mean, you
100%.
cannot like me, but
But you're like, I can't believe why you wouldn't. But like, it's such a freeing thing to just be like, you get to
See,
do
you don't need to
you
turn
know?
50. You got it. So just stay in the 40s. You're good. You don't need to get there.
God, if one of us could sell being in your 40s forever, oh my God.
Yeah, they've tried that called the Holy Grail. It didn't work so well for some, I'm sorry. We just watched Indiana Jones the other day. It came popped into my head. Like we said, my head is not a place anybody really ever wants to be.
It
We
seems
give
fun,
kudos
though.
to Jill all the time because we say Jill had the experience of Jill could speak Jennifer, which was I would love our new assistant to be able to do that, but it is a skill that cannot be taught. It is innate and it is very rare. So,
That is amazing.
I'm just,
I love it. It feels like being in your head would be a fun place to be.
To visit.
I was going to say, I can give you some names. You can call around and ask.
Oh my God.
He usually is cracking up at that kind of stuff too, because he's like, yeah, I've seen that head. It's scary.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So
It's really fun.
you've given us a lot of wisdom. What would be a parting wisdom you would share with all of us about? I mean, I know we had a list, and I think we covered a lot of it.
we did
So,
great.
but again, it was just awesome to chat. So, what parting wisdom would you give us,
I don't
Jennifer?
know, I think for me sometimes the biggest help is when you feel some kind of like really negative thing, right? You're like angry, unhappy, whatever, like taking a step back and really thinking about like, what is it that's causing me to feel this way? And what are the facts and what's the story I'm making about it? Like, what is it? What's the narrative in my head that's causing me to feel this way? And sometimes even that shift in perspective can help you take a step back and decide whether or not you want to be angry. Because it's okay to be angry, but like, do it on purpose. Like so much of the time we're like at the effect of our brain, and we just
It's reactionary, and you let it
go.
happen.
Sure.
You don't
100%.
And
learn anything from it that way either.
Yeah.
Right. So
Absolutely.
I do the grocery shopping in my house.
Yeah.
And so
And the cooking.
And the cooking, yes.
I know we're all having dinner at Tom's next
Well,
week.
when I go to certain places, and it's overly crowded or too busy or whatever, and it makes me angry. It's okay. I'm just not going to go there at that time anymore.
Yeah.
Right? There's no reason for me to be PO'd. I'm not going to keep going at the same time.
Right.
I'll go a different time.
If you-
and maybe I won't have that same feeling. So we have to be able to distinguish. It's not those people that made me angry. I let them make me angry.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable in this situation and that frustrated me. Or I
Right.
couldn't do what I wanted to do in the time frame I wanted to do it. That frustrated me. So I'm not really mad at them. But, and it's another thing I remember hearing years ago when I was in Weight Watchers at one point, fighting the battle my whole life. But they said, if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you always get. So change the time you go. Change to a different store at that time. If that's a convenient time, find a different place. Like,
Right.
Make a change.
Yeah.
And change is good. Change is very good.
But sometimes you can't always change the circumstances.
You can't. So you have to
So-
change the narrative.
Yeah, exactly. So that's I think one of the biggest things that is helpful is, sometimes you can change, just go to a different, that doesn't take anything away from you, right? But other circumstances, you're in a marriage, you're in a job, there's something about your life, you could keep changing and still feel the same way. So there's something going on that's deeper than just the circumstance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So figuring out, what is it that really is pissing me off about this? What?
And you can embrace that.
Yeah.
You can embrace
Totally.
that anger and you can say okay, this really makes me mad.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be really mad the next time or I could do something different.
Yeah.
You just change your expectations. Poor Chris has it with their building here.
Oh, yeah.
Their expectation is every day it's gonna
Every
be
day something's gonna
something
happen.
different.
Every day I'm going to hike up 5 flights of stairs
100%.
carrying all my stuff.
So
yeah.
so you can either go with it or be angry all the time.
Getting my steps in every day.
I was going to say that Fitbit is a new purchase. You are looking slimmer too, so I'm thinking it might not be a bad thing, So except unless it's your beard is not looking slimmer.
No, it's definitely
It's
the
yeah.
stairs.
You've been doing the beard thing is really COVID is over, baby. I'm
I
saying.
can shave down now?
No, you can trim a
Yeah,
little.
high and tight is.
It's Tom. So barely shaven is kind of.
That's apparently a circumstance we do want to change.
We want to change.
Exactly. I love it. Actually, it looks really good on him.
How do we make Chris change?
We don't want to change. Oh, he's crying. Don't let him hurt your feelings. Figure out what it is about you that affected you, Chris. Yeah. Think on that, and Tom, you concentrate on what made you say something so mean to our sweet Chris.
I told you. I told you already. I told you. You were warned.
So Jennifer, I have a question for you. It's
Yes.
gonna put you on the spot.
Okay.
Okay. So now that you've spent an hour with Tom and I,
Yes.
we are a 200 plus. So you've spent 1% of your time.
Oh my gosh.
You've spent your time with 1%
There's
of
more?
us. Oh, there's more. So what,
Not like us
where-
necessarily.
Where at which next chamber event sounds good to you that more people can meet you in person?
Oh wow. Well, there's so many great events. Any of the golf ones sound really
The
fun.
golf one is
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
That sounds good.
So
Right.
And was there a mini golf one?
the
Yeah,
mini
it's the
golf
same.
is the
Oh, it's the
after
same one.
hours.
Oh, that's right.
It's
Yeah, there's
after
actually two.
hours.
There's two
Okay.
golf.
two golfs. So the
Yeah.
mini golf in the Blue Grotto.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that's at the end of September.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Starts at 4.
What time is it? What's the day?
It is the last Wednesday in September. I think it's the 29th.
I believe you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, yay! Oh, yeah, off the top of my head.
Nice.
Woohoo!
Chris is putting it on his calendar
Thank
too.
you. Yeah, it is. It's fun. We're going to have a very good
That
time.
sounds amazing.
You just go to emac.org events. You sign up on the 29th, and, join us for that.
All right,
And then
cool.
the other golf, the other fun golf tournament.
Well, you have
September 4th.
that's closer to real golf. Let's put
Yeah,
it that way.
for the
But
first
I
3
actually
clubs,
like the
anyway.
thought of, I like that you've dumbed it down for the rest of us. Because
Do
I'm not a golfer.
So I have to say, how many years have you guys been doing the golf tournament like this? Do you know?
Well, I think they've always done a 9 and dine.
They've always done 9. The wacky putters.
That's
How
probably
long?
maybe 4 or 5 years.
No, it's been longer than that.
You think?
I know.
I don't know. My sense of time is completely.
I know,
messed
because
up.
I remember the conversation, and it was way before my time. And comes home and goes, so we've thought
Okay.
about doing this new tournament. And I'm like, oh my God, that's hysterical. So maybe,
You'd have to ask Ray or
Toby
would know.
Yeah,
maybe.
Ray and Toby created that, and that's a scary place
those
to be.
two, yeah. Yeah, that's very.
Yeah,
that's
that
a very,
golf committee is like, we've had to replace Toby since he's moved on to other things. Elaine's tooting her own horn over here. Yes, BAH, always the best events. She's the chair of the Business After Hours
love
Committee.
it.
Yes, so yeah, she gets very excited about her events.
So anyway, any of our events, we try to build in the ability to meet other people and
Yeah.
to join that community. So really,
Right.
any of our events
Yeah.
that work on your calendar,
Right.
that's
Perfect. Yeah.
probably the best
Yeah.
way
Love
to
to
do it.
join.
Yeah, and it's not. We always, the more people that come to a chamber event, the more people you meet and the larger your network is. So we
Yeah.
encourage our members to bring guests because it benefits everyone. The larger we get, the more people there are, and the more we all grow. And our focus really is to help our members achieve what they're looking to achieve
Absolutely.
and make connections. And so we like
it's
doing
great.
that. So
I
we'd
love it.
love to see you. I know
I
there's
I think
lots
I bought a ticket to some, and I hadn't.
You
made
did.
It, so.
I
Yeah,
you know
you're
what?
like,
I know.
I saw you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't want to call me out for being
I
a
wasn't,
no-show,
but you said it. She was a no-show, people.
You're not the first.
No. But, now we know your loss, and you're going to have to deal with how you feel about that disappointment now. So coach yourself, baby. Get through it.
Yeah.
And,
We're not going to fix that for you.
yeah, no.
just gonna have to
You
allow
didn't
that
hurt our
disappointment.
feelings. We know it was your loss.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we've all learned something.
Wasn't that the
I
point?
feel so enlightened.
You already knew. You got it. You had it going on.
Okay. Well, with that,
That's great.
we're going to be back. And, of course, I was prepared. And then I had to lug up the stairs so I don't have my list of when we'll be back. But
It's
a
all on the
couple of
website.
weeks.
Oh,
With our podcast guests, follow us on social media to find out our podcast guests. Also, for those of you who are on our email address, you will get a list of all the EMAC happenings that will be going out on Wednesday. So you'll see our guests coming up. I know who we have next. August. Wait, today's what? Today's the 13th. So it's whatever our next August one is. We have Andrea Lane from Coast to Coast, Red Door Home. She does this amazing, I'm really interested in finding out more. So anyway,
27th, August 27th.
August 27th, we have Andrea Lane
It's a
with
good
us.
thing we got Chris here.
Thank God Chris is here. And at least we let his bosses know that we love having Chris here. So it's very good. So next podcast, thank you, Jill. Always on it for me. Next podcast, August 27th. All right. And with that, Jennifer, thank you.
Thank you very
It
much.
was
Thank you for having me.
awesome. I
So
hope you
fun.
enjoyed it.
I
And
really did.
this is on our Facebook page, so go home and send all your friends emails.
Absolutely.
The big jar friends.
Yeah.
Send the big jar friends the email
Yeah.
that says, "Hey,
The
watch
3
me."
in the little jar, yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
But the big jar would be good.
I will definitely get a bigger jar.
You get a bigger jar now. You're going to need it now
yeah,
from all your
once
followers.
once you meet our members,
You're going to need
you're
a
gonna
bigger
bucket.
jar.
I have to do a rebrand.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. Tom, thanks as always for
pleasure.
joining me. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, couple weeks.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Very good.